And we are back from New Rochelle and Iona. We had some technical difficulties, but we're here to start up a stream. Sorry for the wait. It's been 2 weeks, 3 weeks since our last episode. It's been a hard time not talking about basketball with you guys. Spring break has been tough. Not tough because there's not really much to talk to. But hey, we're here. I have you guys ready to talk some ball, talk some Mavericks, talk some Detroit Pistons, talk some Western Conference basketball, talk about Cooper Flag. Where's he gonna go? Should he go back to college? Who knows? But first, yesterday, special day, I went to a Brooklyn Nets versus Dallas Mavericks game. Saw AD's return game. We saw him with limited minutes dominate in his own way in terms of just being that figure of force and presence and having his basically the lineup built around him, which is honestly what we should do. It was built around someone, we traded that someone, and then we built the roster around someone else. Which is kind of weird because that roster being built around a completely different play style and Luca. It looks the same. It looks perfect built around AD. Two big lineups. The the shooters and playmakers around. I think it's gonna work when we're fully healthy. The Kai Jones and Anthony Davis lineups they look good. The two main actions that they have, the ball screen for each other, the back and forth um, actions between them. I think that switching Kai Jones, who also has been looking really good, switching him with Derek Lively and Gafford is going to cause real problems for a lot of teams who don't have the personnel to deal with it. A lot of teams don't have the personnel to deal with two bigs who can put the ball on the floor and play make and make shots. Well, we have one in Anthony Davis, but there's not many Anthony Davises in the league, and they're not going to be able to hang with us on the defensive end. Two rim protectors at an elite level in Gafford and Lively, and then Anthony Davis to add to the help side. I think that's going to be really dominant when healthy, of course, which seems like we can't do that this year, which is kind of sad, but because we as a Maverick fan, we need something to hold on to. The last couple weeks have been very grim in terms of games. Like it's just, you're either gonna lose because there's no one playing. There was rumors that we are gonna forfeit games because we didn't have enough players, which is like, do we deserve it? Do the front office deserve it? Does the ownership deserve it? You can say that, but as fans, do we really deserve it? We just support the team, want them to win, want them to succeed. So I just think that the season is a top two worst season of all time for any fan, any season. I don't know if I can't name one worse off the top of my head, but it's good to have some positivity and optimism towards the end of the season, going into next season, so that you don't have as bad of a season as you just did. Prayers to Kyrie. Hope he gets healthy. We've seen him on Twitch talk about his injury and his talk about flare reacts, talk about a lot of things. Very interesting guy to watch, by the way. Glad he's on my team. But that we have our guys getting healthy. Maybe they can end the season off. Gafford and Lively, they can finish the season off strong. Strong note heading into the next year. Maybe get some chemistry, build some chemistry with AD. See how that plays out. Klay Thompson, he's going to stay. Maybe we can make it worth it. His final years of his career, we can help him get back to where he wants to get back to. Najee Marshall, that's one of my favorite players. I love Najee Marshall. The way he plays, his hustle, his defensive ability, his shot making, and the floater to paint area, restricted area. His ability to finish is I like that. Spencer Dinwiddie, his on and off shooting, his ability to get to the rim, his playmaking ability. I like that. He showed out yesterday. Shout out to him. It was 3 straight possessions in the second quarter, late second quarter, early third quarter, where he got the ball, he took the ball. This was, I think, Kai Jones on the floor. He 5 out. He attacked his matchup, got to the rim 3 straight times, 2 layups, 1 miss, but the aggressiveness, the aggressive factor that he has is something I like to see yesterday. I think the whole team overall played well. Jaden Hardy, Brandon Williams, nice young pieces to develop into next year. They got some good vets around them. Hopefully, they can be the future of this team because that's what we need. Brandon Williams, nice young player who can, flashy young player who can put the ball on the floor. Hopefully, in the future, can expand that to a different level. Jaden Hardy, I like Jaden Hardy. I liked him last year in the postseason. He provided good minutes. Hopefully, he can carry that on into this postseason if we make it. Play and push is on here. We're here. We want to see the 10 seed. We want to make the 10 seed. We want to eliminate Sacramento or Phoenix. Get them out of here. They suck. Bradley Beal, you suck. And we want to make the A seed. Who cares if we win or lose? We want to compete. We want to show that our team is good when healthy. We just need to get healthy. And we want to show that the other teams were lucky that we were injured because we should be out for vengeance. This free agency should be a good one. I don't know who wants to sign here, but hopefully someone nice wants to sign here. You know, the team has a good identity to be a part of, and hopefully people see that and want to join. It's been rough. People who we've lost this season, they've been going crazy. Caleb Martin, please get healthy, man. We got to show why you are a better pickup than Quinn Grimes, who is currently going berserk as first option for the Sixers. Couldn't believe I could say that at the beginning of the year, but maybe things will brighten up towards the end of the year, which is the stretch that we're about to go on. This couple game stretch, I think 11 game stretch. I hope that helps us push for the playoffs. Um, I'm hate watching every Phoenix Suns game and Sacramento Kings game. We need them to lose. We need Sacramento out of here. Jokers, you guys suck. You guys lost the Tyrese Halliburton trade. I don't know if you know that. But yeah, you got your 1 year of fame, success, glory, just to lose in the first round, and now you're back to where you started. Sorry, you made your playoffs for the 1 year. You broke your 15-year streak. Congratulations. Congratulations. Now you need to miss the playoffs again. The Suns, Kevin Durant's leaving. You guys making a 10-year veteran in Devin Booker make it seem like he wants to leave. I would have never guessed Devin Booker would leave Phoenix, but the way you guys are building a team around him, it might be over. I'm so sorry. It might be over. Um, shout out to Jason Kidd, holding the troops down. Shout out PJ Washington too. He had a good game yesterday. I love my Mavs. They got their identity. Hopefully we can build on that. And Luca, get in some shape. You can't make it past the second half. Your first half merchant. All right. You get it. They're good. Win some games, all right? I just think that this trade is still bad. I can't lie to you. But there's some hope. And maybe this championship run that we can go on next year, maybe that'll feed families for the next generations of lifetime. We can be the team that traded Luca, but won a championship before him. So, or we can be the team that traded Luca. Luca goes on to be one of the greatest players of all time. Nico Harrison gets fired, and we suck for the next 10 years. It's possible. But hey, we never know. Praise up for Kyrie. And now I just want to do this quick little ad read. There's some general reminders. There's make sure to follow WIR Gales Radio on Instagram at WIR_Gales Radio for all club updates and more. If you're looking for a direct line to the people at Iona, reach out to us and let us know if we have an event or program you need to talk about on Instagram, WIR_Gales Radio, or email James Melvin for any requests. Know a lot, but don't have any time to say it. WIUR is looking for writers to create the top of the hour's news, sports, entertainment updates. Updates are created once a week and will be 90 seconds. Equipment is provided to reach out to the WIUR e-board if you are interested. So now that we're done talking about the Mavs game from yesterday, we can talk about the Wild Wild West, because we kind of did dabble into the lower play-in seeds. But now for the upper tier of the West, everything's a dogfight. Every game matters, which as a as a general manager or the commissioner, Adam Silver, I'm happy. This plan was a big addition in 2020. Really good that they did. I think he's happy that he knows that now towards the end of the year, everything is competitive. Got the Sacramento Kings are 35 and 36, Suns 35-37, Mavericks 35-37. You got the Timberwolves are 41 and 32. The Clippers are 40 and 31. The Warriors are 41 and 30. The Memphis Grizzlies are 43 and 28. The Lakers are 43 and 28. The Nuggets are 45 and 28. The Rockets are 46 and 26. Anything could happen. This 2 to 10 seed, not 10 seed, 2 to 8 seed can completely flip by the end of the year. And it's beautiful. That's what Adam Silver envisioned. This is what they want competitive basketball towards out throughout the whole year. That's why they added the play-in tournament, the cup tournament. They added all these games, these events, rivals week. They want the whole season to be competitive. Whether it works, we'll never know because it's all up to the players and how they take pride in the game and compete. But knowing that teams don't like losing or players don't like losing, and their teams are really close to getting that above 6 seed spot, they're going to compete for the rest of these 13 or 12 games that they have throughout the regular season. Shout out to the Thunder though; they are one win away from winning 60 games. So that's a feat. They surpassed the Cavs after their recent losing streak. That is the first seed in the entire league. Shout out them. Crazy story that they're last year they were the youngest team in the league. They still were the first seed, but despite it was tiebreaker, but they were the first seed regardless. And this year they didn't even leave it up to question. They just took it by force and they're running with it. Shout out to Coach Mark Dagnall. You are one hell of a coach. The way you led this team defensively and offensively. Shea Gilgeous, I think, should be runaway MVP. I don't know why there's any more conversation. A team that is 13 wins ahead of the second seed with a player playing as good as Shea is there should be no question who the MVP is, regardless of how good Jokic is playing. Yeah, but I like the way I like how competitive these last 2 years of the playoffs have been. I say this last year. Last year was is when I refound the love for the game of basketball again. The year before that, 22-23, I kind of fell out of it, fell out of love. I just wasn't finding the interest. The teams, let alone my team was bad. It's just the whole league surrounding it. I just didn't have as much joy as I once had as the year prior, even because the year prior there was a lot of joy. It was a good season. It was the 75th anniversary. I feel like that was a good year. The All Star game was good, but we're not talking about All Star game. But last year and this year have I feel like really improved with the addition to the in season tournament. I think that should stay for the rest of the NBA's history. That tournament should be it should be more broadcasted and mainstreamed. I think that should be the NBA's thing that they run with. They should never question it. The players care. The players compete. Anything can happen, and it's fun to see. There was a quote today from Giannis. I can't go into the explicitives that he said, but he said that he loves winning, and then he said that he like being in the MVP conversation is cool. Being top set for the last 7 years, been in the MVP conversation every year. That's cool, but winning in 21 and that in season tournament win is a different feeling. It's better than whatever he said. If you want to look at the tweet, you can see what he actually said. But I think players want it. They love winning and having something to win for. I think they should add another one. Maybe it's a little bit too much. You have one at the start of the season, mid-season, around like All-Star break, a mini tournament, not as big as the in-season tournament where it's like the 4 weeks of play and then you got the 2 weeks in Vegas or the 1 week in Vegas. I think you have maybe just a 2-week sample size of tournament games. And you have 1 week, and maybe not in Vegas, but somewhere else, somewhere more populated, maybe a global. Maybe you go to like Europe or something. You play in Europe and have this tournament. Forget the All-Star break, get rid of the All-Star break. You add this tournament, and the players will care for it. if you make it matter. NBA needs to learn to make things matter, and players will care for it. They made the cup matter. They will always care for it. A player who doesn't care about the playoffs is not a player you want on your team. So the playoffs is what everyone looks forward to. The cup is now the new big thing to look forward to throughout the regular season, which I love. But this also adds to the fact that the West is so competitive that anything can happen, and that's what the NBA has been looking for. So now we're gonna talk about why or how this could shake up. The 7 and 8 seed, whoever that is, the Clippers, the Timberwolves, could be the Warriors, could be the Grizzlies. It would take a lot for it to be the Grizzlies, but anything can happen. Like skids could happen. Whoever is in these 7, 8, and 9, 10, they're gonna wish that they played more basketball and play harder because nothing is given to you. The Clippers, who are the 7 seed, they could very well lose to the Timberwolves and then lose to Phoenix or Dallas. Anything can happen. You want to get above the 6 seed so that we have Thunder. Right now, it's the Thunder, Rockets, Nuggets, Lakers, Grizzlies, Warriors. Shout out to the Warriors, by the way. I did predict that picking direction would help, and Jimmy Butler really did help. Him and Curry they work because the fact that they bought into winning and now they have no excuses to not win. So I like them. I like the move for them, and I like how they have climbed from 10 seed probably to now they are above in 6, and they are on a crazy streak when healthy. Curry, get well, by the way. We want you for playoffs. We want a good playoffs this year. No injuries significantly, but I think we're bound for a good playoffs. Right now, the matchups would be OKC and whoever wins. Maybe I was gonna say OKC Minnesota. That's a great matchup. Houston Clippers. That's a great matchup. Nuggets Warriors. That's an insane matchup that I am there to see. I actually hope we get that for the playoffs. Lakers Grizzlies. That not so happy about. It'd be a it wouldn't be a rematch because the teams are two completely different teams from when they played 2 years ago. But it'd be fun to see LeBron, Luka, and all series in the playoffs. And the Grizzlies, the fastest paced team in the league, that we would love to see that. Clippers, Rockets, those are Kawhi is back and healthy. He's been on a stretch these last 6 games. Can he stay healthy for the playoffs? I'm thinking he could because he prioritized health over playing. Because if we remember last year, he didn't prioritize health. He prioritized playing games from the new rule over the last year. He played the games and he was hurt for the postseason. This year, he is taking care of his body. He's recovered from his knee injury from the summer or from the year prior. Throughout the summer, that progressed into the start of the season, and he's back. He's played his way into Kawhi Leonard form. James Harden has revived his career. Not revived. He's always like that, but he's James Harden is James Harden now. Um, Zubac, what a player, man. Maybe just take this week off, but shout out to James Harden. James Harden is not underratedly. James Harden is very well known to be the big man whisperer. Shout out to James Harden. I hope James Harden. Now on to the Grizzlies Lakers. Not Grizzlies Lakers. Nuggets Warriors. That matchup is a 7 game series. Jokic, Jamal Murray, Gordon versus Curry and the Jimmy Butler. I think that the Warriors could definitely win a championship this year. I don't know if people want to hear it. Their their depth is very questionable, but they have the pedigree of being the Warriors. And things could always Curry is still one of the best players in the league, undoubtedly. And I think we've all realized that, but we just don't want to say it. They could, I don't know if they can win. They could definitely compete. The Thunder are still there. The Nuggets, the Lakers, the Rockets could definitely compete. They are young. They could go through those challenges that young teams do often face who don't have the guy on their team. They have great players, great team, great coaching. Do they have a guy who you need to win playoff games. I don't think they do. They have guys who can play like it, but they don't have guys who are the guy. Sengun, Jalen Green, they're not Amen Thompson, they're not the 1A type of guy that you need to win a championship. So that's why I have the doubt in them. A lot of teams in the West have that 1A guy. They have the Thunder with Shea. The Nuggets have Jokic. The Lakers have two. They have LeBron and Luka. Memphis, they have a guy. They don't have the 1A guy. I highly severely doubt. They are well coached. Not well coached. They're well coached. They have great depth. They have great defense. They have guys who can put the ball on the floor. They have guys who can play in playoff games, who have shown that they can play in playoff games, but they don't have the guy that can win them a championship, in my opinion. The Warriors have that guy, which is why I think that they could 100% go on that run. I saw this. I said this last year before the playoffs started. When you have the best player on the court, things change, and you can win playoff series off of that. I said this last year with the Mavericks that most series that they will play, they will have the best player on the court, and if not second best player. And that really showed. Having Luke on the court, despite his bad shooting and turnovers, the way he managed the game showed that he was a 1A type of guy. And he was the reason that they made the finals. Off of his presence and his ability to make his teammates better, they made the finals off of that. The year before that, the Nuggets won. They had the 1A guy. They had Jokic on their team. I'm gonna can go back and name as many players. It's as far back as you can go to a team that did not have a 1A guy on their team is 2004 with the Pistons. If we go back and look who had a 1A type of player, not many teams didn't. That's why I think that you severely need it. And that's honestly, I mean, you could say the Celtics. The Celtics didn't have a 1A type of player. Playing wise, Tatum is he's still on that caliber of player. He didn't play like it, I will admit that. But you know what? They did beat the case. They didn't have a 1A type of player. I said it. They didn't have a 1A type of player. Tatum was not playing like a 1A type of player. They just had a multitude of players who can do things that other teams couldn't. They were injured with KP didn't play in the finals. He was in and out of the lineup. They still won like it didn't really matter. Jaylen Brown stepped up, Derek White stepped up, Drew Holiday stepped up, Al Horford, he had his moments. I think it's just team functionability matters more. But in my head, I still don't see teams who are not as talented as the Celtics do anything. The Grizzlies and the Rockets are not as talented as the Celtics were, and let alone they didn't have a player as good as Tatum did, or Tatum was. Because despite his inefficient shooting and his lack of ability to score, he had everything else, which I will give to him. He had everything else. He had the playmaking, he had the defense, he had the ability to rebound and put himself in proper situations to play. I just don't think he was a 1A level guy. But besides the super team Celtics, not a super team because there's not many super teams if we use the right definition. There are teams that cannot, who do not and will not win if they don't have a 1A type of guy. And besides the Celtics, we can go back to 2004. 2003, they had Jokic. 2002, they had 22, they had Curry. 21, they had Giannis. 20, LeBron and AD. Kawhi, KD, Curry. The pattern is there for many years, and I don't think it's going to change this year. I think one of the teams with a 1A guy. This will always get to the Cavs. They are in the Celtics range in terms of talent despite having a 1A talent. Because I know a lot of you think of the Cavs, like they don't have a 1A type of guy. I just think they're in more of a Celtics category. Do I think they win a championship? I do not. I don't think they can beat the Celtics, and I don't think they can beat the Thunder if they do play. But if they were to win a championship, it would be based on the fact of good coaching, good defensive players on the team with Mobley and Allen who funnel everything into the paint. As we do know that doesn't work in the playoffs, as we've seen with a lot of teams who have big men who funnel into the paint, and teams who space the floor, they can easily what's it called? They can attack that matchup because the Cavs, they do have 2 smaller guards who need to really try to play defense do anything do anything that doesn't get them hunted in the playoffs. But I think that around them, surrounding them, they have surrounded them with defensive players who can make up for that. And let alone their offense is going to be electric. Electric no matter what. Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, if they are firing, they are firing. Evan Mobley, who's taking that leap, he could definitely improve from his last playoff performance where he really couldn't put the ball on the floor and was kind of dared to score against the Knicks. I don't think they can do that anymore. DeAndre Hunter, I think, was the perfect piece to this team, having a big wing who can also put the ball on the floor, despite a lot of the past teams not having that big wing who can do that. I think they have added to the team. However, like I've been saying, a 1A talent is a 1A talent. Having the best player on the court definitely does change things. Will it change with the Cavs? I guess we'll have to be proved wrong or proved right. We can never know until it happens because we can see them play dominantly in the regular season. They can see them score. We can see them get stops whenever they need it. They can see them pull out in close games. We can see their hot streaky shooting. We can see that all in the regular season. When it comes to the postseason, they need to solidify what we see to the regular season. There are teams who we don't need to see that we know can turn it on and do what they can do. There are other teams that we don't know because we have not seen it or we have our doubts. The Celtics are a team that we don't need to see it. We seen it last year. The regular season they dominated. They had their moments of like, oh, this could be a problem. They shut that all down come postseason. Yes, they didn't play anyone too hard, but they did shut down all the question marks about their ability to win and compete at a high level. They dominated every matchup they played. The Thunder, do they need to prove themselves? Not as much as people think. Yes, they did lose in the second round. They did compete heavily despite being at a clear matchup disadvantage in terms of size wise. They have fixed that this year. They are better this year. They have developed this year. Shea's a better player than he was last year, and he was still damn good last year. It all comes down to their second option ability to score. Because yes, Shea can play hero ball, but is hero ball going to win you the games? We'll see because it didn't work last year. He played hero ball. They lost in 6. The Lakers need to prove themselves. Not LeBron, but the Lakers, because they made this trade. People thought it wasn't going to work. It clearly showed that it can work having 3 top tier ball handlers. I think that they can do it. The Warriors, the Warriors are scary. I hate to say it, they are scary. Having the pedigree, the experience, and having Steph Curry on your team with Draymond on the other side, who is honestly made a sneaky case to win Defensive Player of the Year. The Warriors, if I'm not mistaken, are a top 5 defenses here throughout the entire year. If I'm not mistaken, they are 7th in defensive rating, which is they've had players on the court. Maybe this stretch. I would have to see this stretch with Jimmy Butler and all of them being fully healthy. This team could be good come playoff time. They can get some stops. They have Curry to get the buckets. It's however everyone else. Everyone else is the question. Jonathan Kaminga, Moses Moody, Brandon Potts. How do they come like how do they play come postseason time? I guess we'll have to see that in the playoffs, but those teams could make damage, do some damage. Man, it's gonna be a good playoffs. I said this last year about the playoffs. It wasn't good until the finals, mostly the West Conference finals. But Western Conference was good playoffs for me. You had great series. You had Nuggets Lakers, despite being 5 games, was a good series because every game was a competitive game. Clippers Mavs was a good series. First round's done. The 2 conference finals or semis were great. The Western Conference finals was a great series. Maybe it's my bias, but despite the playoffs being good to me, I can see how people say it was disappointing as there were not many good series. The Sixers Knicks was a good series. And then everyone else got hurt. Bucks Pacers was more of an injury fest. Celtics Heat injury fest, but Celtics dominated. The Magic Cavs, the most boring game seven of all time. 7 game series of all time is what I meant. But maybe this year can make up for the bad series. Like if we go through every matchup we have, let's go to the East because we whatever. Thunder, Thunder, Timberwolves could be a good matchup. Clippers, Rockets could be a great matchup. Nuggets, Warriors, elite matchup. Lakers, Memphis could be a great matchup. Cleveland, Orlando, a match up of last year's playoffs. Can we see how good Cleveland has progressed from last year? Orlando can possibly make up if they don't lose to the Bulls, who can't miss. Hawks, Celtics, boring. New York, Detroit. This has potential to be series of the year. This is my pick for if they played would be the best series for the playoffs. The Detroit Pistons, one of the most fun team to watch. Since I have gotten League Pass, Detroit has been one of my favorite teams to watch. Them and the Knicks. The Knicks, when they get Jalen Brunson back, we can see what these offseason additions have done and what they will do come postseason time. We hope that they can figure it out defensively in terms of Mitchell Robinson and Cat. Maybe they're not going to play as many players. They're not going to be deep in the playoffs. But how will the rotational players play come playoff time? That's something we're willing to see because when it comes to the top upper seeds, they have not competed well against them. We just hope that it changes. Indiana, Milwaukee, if both healthy, that could be a great series. Shout out to both of them. Beating the odds. Doc Rivers beating the allegations of terrible coach. Doc Rivers, thank you for reminding me. We're done talking about the playoffs. Maybe next episode we can talk more in depth about these playoff matchups. But this Doc Rivers quote was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life that was real. He had everyone thinking that NBA Central tweeted this. He was talking about his blown 3-1 leads and saying that he doesn't get credit for winning 3 games. Doc Rivers says he doesn't get enough credit for winning 3 games in a playoff series where he blew 3-1 leads. No one tells a real story, and I'm fine with that. It's unfair in some ways. I don't get enough credit for getting the 3 wins. I get credit for losing. I always say, what if we had lost to Houston in 6? No one cares. One of the things that I'm proud of is we never been swept. All the coaches have been swept in the playoffs. My team achieves. A lot of them overachieve, and I'm very proud of that. Doc Rivers, you should not be proud about your team being that good to win 3 games and having a 3-1 advantage against a team that you have clearly outcoached and outplayed just for the next 3 games to get outcoached, outplayed, and lose the series. Why do you want credit for blowing a 3-1 lead against the Nuggets when you had the Clippers as the team to win? You had King Kawhi in the commercials. You had Paul George and Kawhi coming in the offseason attached to the team that you had just made the playoffs and overachieved with the year before. And then you come into that year with challenging the Lakers just to not even make it to the Lakers and in the Western Conference Finals and lose a 3-1 lead. Not even did you blow a 3-1 lead. You were up 20 in game 5 and blew that lead and then just never had a chance to win again because you got outcoached. Doc Rivers wants him to get praise for being outcoached. Congrats. You won 3 games in a series. You didn't win the series. You want credit for bringing the Lob City Clippers, one of the most talented teams of the mid 2010 eras, to not even the Western Conference Finals. You want credit for that? You want credit for being up 3-1, let alone say you're up 3-1. They lose game 5, fine. Game 6, you're up 20. James Harden is playing god awful, their star player. Josh Smith and Corey Brewer make you lose. They single-handedly carry that team to win that game. Just for you to lose in 7, you want credit for that? You want credit for giving Corey Brewer and Josh Smith their 15 seconds of fame? Josh Smith was good in Atlanta. He was on Houston. He wasn't much. You want credit for that? I guess you do. Doc Rivers in the modern era is the biggest joke of a coach of all time. His ability to just blame everyone but himself because he doesn't want to take accountability for losing his team games against the Celtics. You want credit for going up 3-1 just to choke in game 6 from a Tatum who had a great fourth quarter, and then your team Giving up 50 points in a game 5, you want credit? I guess you do, bro. Doc Rivers, you're a joke. I honestly don't understand why people keep hiring you. The same thing will happen in Milwaukee. You guys will end up losing a playoff series. It will be everyone's fault but yours. And then you'll get fired because you should have won that playoff series that you ended up losing. Doc Rivers is his whole career is based off of winning a championship with the big three Celtics. Where people have reported that Tom Thibodeau was honestly the biggest factor in them winning that championship because his defensive capabilities and the way he coaches as an assistant coach. But hey, you were the coach. I can't really say anything wrong about you. You did win. You won in 2008. You lost in 2009 when KG got hurt. You choked in 2010. You lost to the Heat. You lost to the Heat back-to-back years. You went to the Clippers. You couldn't make it out the second round despite having talented teams. And then they go back on it every year and they say, "Oh, we just never held each other accountable." That's your job to do that, Doc Rivers. When JJ Redick and Blake Griffin on our podcast saying that we were childish and we can never take accountability, that's your job to do. You are the coach. You need to lead these guys to victory, and you couldn't do that. You go to the Clippers. You stay on the Clippers. You get a new team. You get fired because you couldn't. You had the team of Kawhi, Patrick Beverly, Paul George, Montrezl Harrell, Lou Williams, and Marcus Morris, and you lost. The Mavericks took you to 6 games. The Nuggets, you were up 3-1, you blew it. You go to the Sixers, you lose to the Hawks. You should have been in the Hawks. You were the 1 seed. And then you'd probably ask, "Oh, I was the 1 seed. Well, I don't get credit for that." You had Joel Embiid, who, yes, he's a choker, but you don't lose to the Hawks in that series. I think Doc Rivers needs to. I don't understand. If I was a general manager, I would never hire Doc Rivers. Off the fact that it seems like a desperation move from the fact that you have no one else to hire, so you just go for the coach with the most pedigree. But the coach with the most pedigree who consistently loses and blames everyone else is not a coach I want. But shout out Doc Rivers for finessing the bag and keeping the job. Congratulations. But with that being said, I just want to do this last ad read before we head out. Make sure to follow Iona Gales Radio on Instagram, WIOR Gales Radio _Gales Radio for all club updates and more. Looking for a direct time to the people of Iona? Reach out to us and let us know if you have an event or program. You need us to talk about Instagram? Need us to talk about Instagram. I'm so sorry for my reading. At WIOR _Gales Radio or email James Melvin for any request. Know a lot, but don't have the time to say it. WIOR is looking for writers to create top of the hours news, sports, entertainment updates. Updates are created once a week and will be 90 seconds. Equipment is provided to reach out to the WIOR e-board if you are interested. And it's been a lovely day at Iona. Beautiful. It's probably sunny out when I go outside. Can't wait to see it. Thank you all for listening. I really appreciate it. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed the ball talk. We will be back next Tuesday for more ball talk. Maybe talk more about the playoffs as the seedings get more final and we can see how the teams played the last week. I'll let you guys know if I win my fantasy playoff week because then I'll be in the playoffs or the finals if I do win. If I lose, I will be complaining about that because Mr. Lucky Guy with the team who's not that good, not as good as mine, wins. But no excuses, he said, so I can't give no excuses. Shout out them. We've been on a since 2021 fantasy league, and looks like it's going on for the next 40 years. So I'll let you know, guys, know how that goes. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next week.